They say, being overweight is not good for confidence, and it can lead to other health problems. Most people need some motivation or guidance when it comes to exercise. Thus joining a fitness club is maybe the best solution. However, finding a local fitness club that suits your needs might not be so easy.
An earthquake has many stages. Firstly, there are small ones, called foreshocks, which occur in the same place as the larger earthquake that follows. Scientists do not know that an earthquake is a foreshock until the larger earthquake occurs. And there is the main part of the earthquake, which is called the main shock.
Nearly 3.5 million people now work from home in the United Kingdom. That is around 12% or 1 in 8 of the population and is an increase of 600,000 since the mid-90s. Advances in technology, the growth of home computer and laptop ownership, and the development of the Internet are key drivers of this trend.
During 1990, many changes of fly-in and fly-out schedule were a significant development. Suddenly, the coast was in easy reach of Britain's largest industrial cities. At the same time as the Industrial Revolution was having an impact and working conditions were improving, hundreds of thousands of people were given free days and short holiday breaks.
In most countries nowadays, people are encouraged to dispose of unwanted computers in an appropriate way. In some countries, there are strict laws about the disposal of computers and computer equipment, and people are not allowed to simply throw them away. Thus, they have a number of options when disposing of an unwanted machine.
Obesity in the developing world is the result of a series of changes in diet and nutrition, physical activity, and general health, collectively known as the nutrition transition. As poor countries become richer, they acquire some of the problems, as well as the benefits, of industrialized nations.
According to a new study just published, the world tobacco demand is expected to increase until the year 2025, due to population and income growth, but at lower rates than in the past. The report maintains that while in developed countries, tobacco smoking will continue to decline, in developing countries its consumption will rise.
Most of the major retailers now see the internet as an opportunity, rather than as competition. The biggest supermarkets and department stores have all announced a huge growth in online sales over the last year. An ever-growing percentage of consumers prefer to shop online, and even those who still enjoy a traditional visit to the main street retailers go online first to check out product choices and prices.
The resume selection is an important step in the process of recruiting new staff. The employer's role in this process is to find those potential employees whose skills and experience look good on paper, and who should be contacted for an interview. But what to look for in a resume is not always clear. The main aim is to focus on the content provided, such as past experience, skills, and abilities.
There is a growing number of people for whom the traditional 9-to-5 job simply no longer works. They may have family commitments and other reasons why they need to be at home during the day. Many simply prefer working from home because of the flexibility it offers. Many women find themselves in this situation because they find it difficult to go back to an ordinary job once they have children.
The academic texts come from books, journals, and magazines, and are generally more professional in style. There are no advertisements, leaflets, or information pages. You will need to deal with more vocabulary that you don't know, and you will meet more grammatically complex structures. The academic exam is more difficult, but you will be able to apply the reading skills you learnt in your future job profile.
Revision doesn't have to be boring. It is boring if you do it for too long or try to do it all at once. It will make you feel anxious if you try to revise too much. Remember that revision means looking back at what you have learnt, not trying to learn things that you haven't learnt yet. Remember that the important thing is to improve your all-around reading skills, so continue to follow the advice from the previous review sections.
Many people believe that the fear of going to prison deters people from committing crimes. People who might do wrong have to think again if they know that the punishment will mean being locked up. Some statistics suggest that in countries where punishment for certain crimes is very severe, the rate for that crime has fallen. Other people argue that people commit crimes because they are desperate, thus have no fear.
Bullying in the workplace is far more common than most people imagine. This type of bullying may be related to your race, your gender, your age, your religion, a disability, or simply happen because somebody doesn't like your tastes or views on life. You may experience one isolated case or a persistent campaign over a period of time.
Sending an email is a new way of communication. But remember that people cannot see your face or hear the tone in your voice when you send an email, so they may not understand when you are trying to be humorous. Something was written in a word format often comes across very differently. Because written remarks generally come across as far harsher than something said.
Items that are contaminated by petrol, paint, or acid must not be washed in a dishwasher. Never run the appliance with the door open. Always turn the appliance off before opening the door. Knives with long blades are potentially dangerous if stored in this appliance. Do not sit or stand on the door when it is open. Unplug the appliance and disconnect the water supply if you are away from your home for an extended period.
What is the oldest man-made structure in the world? In the last 10 years, archaeologists in Japan say they have answered that question twice. However, the second discovery, made by one of Japan's leading archaeologists, was shown to be a case of fraud. Incidentally, in 2003, the truth came out. A senior archaeologist had planted the tools so that he could take credit for such an important discovery.
The River Nile is the longest river in the world, and it has always brought life to Egypt. Around 95% of the population of Egypt lives within 20 kilometers of this great source of water. When the river dam was completed in 1970, it affected every person in the country. The dam prevented flooding that had previously destroyed homes and crops, generated electricity, and it provided water for a much greater program of agriculture.
Membership for fitness clubs can be expensive, so you want to be happy with the club you choose and you want to visit as often as possible. If you only go once a month or stop going completely, you will waste a lot of money. There are usually some great offers available at fitness clubs. You can use reviews to find the right club in your area, but then it's up to you to get yourself there and to start getting in shape.
Presently, the aim of governments all over the world is to reduce the amount of waste that we need to get rid of. Organic material that contains little or no heavy metals can be detoxified biologically. This is done by composting and land farming. Firstly, to reduce the amount of waste that is created in the first place, and then to reuse and recycle waste rather than discard it.
Let's talk about dealing with your customers. Remember that you are in a position of great influence, and your abilities directly influence the company's reputation. We have carefully designed a course which will look at ways to revitalize the customer contact skills that you already have. So, learn with us the best ways to improve your communication with customers.
In the current issue, we will publish some of the many letters that we have received during the new stadium exhibition. Your reactions were certainly mixed. Read our exclusive interview with many film stars and their plans to start a new perfume and shoes brands. Last but not the least, there is a lot of gossip also included for your entertainment.
The university provides 31 self-contained furnished townhouses. These townhouses have either 3 or 6 bedrooms each, and student residents are expected to be studying full-time. Rents in 2019 ranged from $120 per week for a room in a 6-bedroom flat to $150 per week for a room in a 3-bedroom house. So, book in advance to avoid disappointment.
Let's say you have no previous experience with computer operations, or you have some gaps in your knowledge of the basic concepts, then this is the most recommended course for you. This course will give you a thorough foundation in the fundamental concepts of computing. It is a practical, hands-on course that looks at how a computer operates and how the programs work.
Do you hate your current job? Or looking for a job change? Needing some time off or wanting a promotion? Come along to a new 2-day program for men and women. We will explore your work goals and things that are holding you back. Your fears at a work environment and how you handle them, your image and what it says to others. It's time to fix that all under our guidance.
In our daily life we use so many different things. Would you imagine a world without zippers to tighten clothing? Have you ever thought about the layout of the keyboard of a typewriter, which we see every day on the computer? There are many inventions just like this that made our life much easier. Maybe that's the reason why we don't think about them very much.
During the 1850 and 1860, Sydney became a major seaport due to its favourable location. Many products and timber were brought to Sydney from inland and shipped down the river to the coast and then to Sydney Port. During 1890, when the railway line connected many towns, the importance of river shipping began to decline. However, the way how they used to transport goods over the river is an important case study still explored by researchers.
There are many businesses and companies that require a knowledge of introductory statistics, computing or mathematics. If you feel that you are inadequately prepared for your course, you can get help from the University Numeracy Center, which offers one-on-one elementary help in statistics and mathematics. So hurry up and grab a timetable today, so that you won't miss out.
Many companies create a business plan that allows them to think through all the factors of their business. It helps them to identify strengths and weaknesses, and help to assess whether the business can succeed. It is a blueprint for starting, maintaining or expanding a business. An impressive business plan also inspires investors to invest their money, and later on to create the financial statements and auditing records.
In many Western countries, the average age of retirement is between 58 to 65. For retirees, the retirement may be an eagerly awaited time to undertake things like traveling or following any hobbies. However, in many Asian countries like Japan, they do not consider a retirement as a freedom and they usually look for other jobs. The main reason is because they feel abandoned by society.
At the Yukon Territory of Canadian North, private companies were recruiting miners for gold extraction. There was a gold rush, this time for real. Many other mines closed upon a month of inauguration. However, traveling to the mining location was only possible during the winter months, when the sea froze out.
Naturalists estimated that, every 24 hours about 100 to 200 species become extinct, totally wipe out from the face of this planet. The shameful thing is that, they get lost without even knowing that they were there. Tasmanian devil, a wolf look-alike, got extinct recently from Tasmania. No one precisely knows when it vanished.
When the empire collapsed, firefighting became privatized, and a local few businesses in the city were authorized to act in case of emergency. The businesses basically used hollow tree trunks to transport water to the location, because plastic and iron was still in the primary stage of its development. As a result, firefighting was a tedious task during that time.
It is very crucial to reduce the amount of proteins and carbs in our daily diet. Although, every day we need a variety of proteins as well as fats and carbs, but not in a large quantity. If your body is not lifting heavy weights or doing exercise daily, then you don't need to have a protein-specific diet. Instead, focus on consuming antioxidants, which we get from consuming greens.
For any economy to work in a smooth manner, the money needs to flow from a person to person, business to business in a multidirectional fashion. If a large sum is stuck at an institute or a person, it will have a drastic effect on the economy of that country. Additionally, if majority of the banks have an issue in the smooth flow of its monetary resources, then it creates economic stagnation. Singapore, one of the smaller countries in the world, but one of the most developed and rich. The former leaders of the country were focused on developing its seaports for trading. The idea to make it as a trading post for Asia is reaping its fruits today. Singapore is connected to each and every city in the world, and it's the busiest dock in the world.
The union wanted people to be responsible for their actions at any circumstances. Everyone should obey the rules and regulations set by the Society of Justice League. For most of the members, the forthcoming elections looked almost like a ready-made picture out of the blue. Always believe that the truth will conquer the lies and we'll be victorious.
The continent of Africa is divided into northern and southern parts by the equatorial line. The line thus creates a typical weather system for the entire continent. Although, few mountains in the region have their own weather system. The global warming seems to be affecting countries in the southern part only.
An apple a day keeps the doctor away. A very famous saying that really means the earth. An apple is full of iron, vitamins and minerals that are essential for our body's equilibrium. It is full of antioxidants that help us to fight against cancer and reduces risk of developing diabetes. It is very good for our heart and also contains many other compounds to protect us against asthma.
Many people like to learn a new language. As exciting it sounds, to achieve the proficiency it can take a lot of efforts. There are multiple stages before a person can said to be a language expert. First of all, the person should set a few short-term goals and narrow the focus on the most basic part. Every language uses grammar, which creates its skeleton. If a person learns the grammar, it's a job half done.
For Australians, the bush means the countryside, outside the major cities and towns, and the outback is a very remote area far from the major cities. For many years after the European settlement of Australia in 1760, people believed that there was an inland sea in the center of the continent. Thus, they took a boat with them and spent about a year exploring the outback.
Did you know? Graffiti hails from the Roman Empire and ancient Greece. In modern times, spray paint and marker pens are now mostly used as graffiti materials. In many countries, marking or painting property without the landowner's permit is an offense. Many times graffiti utters social and political messages, and a whole type of art is based on spray-painted styles.
From out-of-work accountants to newly graduated computer nerds, the present economic downturn has hundreds of people turning to volunteer work. Their reasons vary, but include keeping up their skills and filling in their time, as well as keeping their spirits up. The vast majority of them just need a boost of experience to get that wheel turning. Just a matter of time, and they will start earning huge sums of money.
Cell phone users, succumbing to the temptations and traps of the next generation of smartphones, are increasingly becoming victims to the phenomenon known as bill shock. The popular new phones such as the Androids provide easy, one-touch access to the internet and social networking sites that can be far more costly than the more conventional voice services.
Could you name 4 of your neighbors and know what their interests are? Good neighbors are not just the people who live next door. They may live down the road or be a member of your community. Help make your city friendlier and volunteer to organize a dinner, picnic, movie or other social outings with your neighbors during Know Your Neighbor Week.
If you are looking for enthusiastic and reliable employees for your business, you may have to look no further than your local community college. Many community colleges provide training in skills that are applicable to a variety of business situations. Students at these institutions may be trained in things like bookkeeping and basic accounting, sales and marketing, and data management.
Do you often find yourself feeling sluggish mid-morning? Do you reach for coffee, a sugary soda, or a candy bar in order to keep going? Unfortunately, this scenario is all too common. Walk into any office around 11 o'clock in the morning and you are likely to see desks littered with candy bar wrappers and empty cups. Contrary to what you may think, this is not due to heavy morning workloads.
Sweden is to take the biggest energy step of any advanced Western economy by trying to wean itself off oil completely within 15 years, without building a new generation of nuclear power stations. The attempt by the country of 9 million people to become the world's first practically oil-free economy is being planned by a committee of industrialists, academics, and others, who will report to Parliament in several months.
Some people think hobbies are just a waste of time, but they offer more than just fun. Hobbies can provide an escape from our fast-paced society, keep our minds and our bodies active and relaxed, and help us stay connected with others. Through hobbies, we can gain knowledge and stay interested in the world around us. So why not make yourself happy by starting a hobby that you'll enjoy?
Readers searching for precise and comprehensive guidance on how to be a good manager may find the writer's message to be a little too ambiguous. Managers who are irritable by nature may wish to take a different strategy. Be yourself, however, is unquestionably sound counsel for anybody aspiring to lead tens of thousands of people. Or, for that matter, anyone who just wants to live a happy life.
Wall Street people are an elite club of billionaires, movie producers, .com professionals, and occasional astronauts. Between them, they hope to change the face of scientific research, apart from influencing the stock markets. With money and influence, a team of the 25 strong among them, deciding to launch a series of multi-million-dollar prizes to accelerate scientific breakthroughs that otherwise might be decades away.
Walkers, bikers, and other trail supporters have banded together to support an ambitious project, a 2,600-mile traffic-free path connecting towns on the east coast from Sydney to Melbourne. This concept for an urban alternative to the extremely popular Blue Mountain Trail, which was launched barely 10 years ago, is fast becoming a reality. And it will be easily identified by the public through signage, maps, users' guides, and common services, etc.
Ultimately, scientists want to know how young infants are able to acquire and master the intricacies of language, which is a challenging task for even the most powerful computers and adult brains. Scientists are baffled as to why a child's vocabulary and comprehension of language suddenly expands at the age of 18 months. One theory is that youngsters begin storing the sounds and meanings of words as soon as they are born.
Many people enjoy looking at vividly colored flowers and the butterflies that visit them throughout the summer months, but few of us think about what the butterflies perceive. A few evolutionary scientists have pondered this topic and discovered a probable, and, if true, startling relationship between the evolution of color vision in butterflies and humans via study.
Why is hydrogen fuel such a great idea? In a word, it is clean. At present, the industrialized countries of the world depend on fossil fuels, natural gas, oil, coal, for almost 90% of their energy. When fossil fuels are used, they produce an overwhelming amount of air pollutants and carbon dioxide, the gas that most scientists blame for global warming.
Mold, a rotting disease that affects strawberries and many other delicate fruits, is a problem. Although the fungus mostly affects fruit, infections begin in the blossoms. Spraying the blooms with a fungus called trichoderma is one successful treatment. This bacterium kills the mold in the flowers before the fruit berries develop, but it has no effect on the fruit itself.
Many individuals are terrified of handling spiders because they believe they might be poisonous. Despite the fact that virtually all spiders can generate venom, only a few species create dangerous bites, and even fewer cause death. Spiders have a low mortality rate when compared to other poisonous animals. In Australia, during a typical year, 12 people are harmed by bees, 10 by wasps, 14 by snakes, and only 6 by spiders.
During the Middle Ages, the internal combustion engine had to wait until a fuel could be combusted inside before becoming useful. The use of gunpowder was attempted but failed. Gunpowder carburetors are still difficult to come by. Coal gas was produced by heating coal in a pressure vessel or boiler in the early engines. During the year 1850, a Frenchman designed the first functional gas engine. His single horsepower engine was big, heavy, and guess what? Noisy.
Ants come in over 8,000 different species. They may be found all throughout the world, however, they favor warmer conditions, and their size ranges from 2 to 25 millimeters. They have a 4-stage life cycle: egg, larva, pupa, and adult. They live for 8 to 10 weeks. The workers are sterile females who labor in the nest, while the bigger ones, the warriors, protect the colony.
Drinking water can come from either groundwater sources via wells, or from surface water sources such as rivers. Nationally, 80% of water systems use a groundwater source, but 66% of people are served by a water system that uses surface water. This is because large metropolitan areas tend to rely on surface water, whereas small and rural areas tend to rely on groundwater. In addition, 10 to 20% of people have their own private wells for drinking water.